Commander Jakral's scales bristled with indignation as he watched the scene unfold before him. In 3 centuries of training dragon cubs for the Imperial fleet, he had never witnessed such a catastrophic breakdown of discipline. The formation that had taken weeks to perfect dissolved in mere seconds, and the cause stood at the training ground's entrance, small and impossibly fragile. The human. "Maintain formation," Jakral roared, his voice echoing across the volcanic stone plateau. Flames licked from his nostrils, the traditional sign of a drill instructor's fury. But the cubs, 23 hatchlings, each already twice the size of the human, ignored him completely. Their wings folded, their powerful legs churned, and they thundered across the training ground like a stampede of scaled missiles, all aimed at her. The human didn't run. Jakral would remember that detail later, when he filed his incident report. She simply dropped to one knee, spreading her arms wide, and her face split into that peculiar expression humans called a smile. The cubs crashed into her like a wave against shore rocks, chirping and trilling with excitement, their tails whipping back and forth with such force that dust clouds rose around them. "Off. Get off her!" Jakral launched himself into the air, diving toward the chaotic pile. Humans were notoriously fragile. Their bones broke under minimal pressure. Their skin tore like wet paper. He'd been against allowing her onto the training grounds at all, but the council had insisted. Cultural exchange, they'd called it. A chance to strengthen bonds between the Dragon Imperium and the human Commonwealth. It would be a short exchange if she was crushed to death. But as Jakral landed beside the writhing mass of scales and wings, he heard something that made him freeze: laughter. The human was laughing, a bright, joyous sound that seemed utterly inappropriate for someone being trampled by enthusiastic reptilian predators. "Yes, I missed you too," the human said, her voice muffled by the wall of scales. "Who's a good dragon?" "Who's the best dragon?" "You all are." Jakral's tactical mind struggled to process the scene. The cubs weren't attacking. They were nuzzling, their massive heads pressed against the human's torso and limbs with surprising gentleness. Young Scrath, the most aggressive of the clutch, had his snout buried against the human's neck, making the purring rumble that dragons only produced around trusted clutchmates. "Lieutenant Jakral," a familiar voice called from behind him. He turned to see High Scholar Vesitara approaching, her ancient scales gleaming silver in the training ground's harsh light. "I see Dr. Sarah Chen has arrived." "With respect, High Scholar, she has destroyed my formation," Jakral said, struggling to keep his tone respectful. "The cubs won't listen to commands. They're behaving like hatchlings around their mother." Vestara's eyes, golden and deep with centuries of wisdom, fixed on him. "Yes, precisely." Jakral blinked. "I don't understand. Tell me, Lieutenant, what do you know of human culture?" "They are weak," Jakral recited as if reading from a military briefing. "Their homeworld has low gravity and minimal atmospheric pressure. They have no natural weapons, no claws, no fangs, no scales. They are prey animals who achieved sentience through unlikely evolutionary circumstances. And yet they sit on the Galactic Council as equals," Vesitara said softly. "Have you ever wondered why?" Before Jakral could answer, Dr. Chen had somehow extricated herself from the pile of cubs. She stood, brushing dust from her clothing. Humans wore artificial coverings, another sign of their weakness, and her eyes shone with moisture. Another human peculiarity: they leaked when experiencing strong emotions. "I'm so sorry," Dr. Chen said, approaching Jakral. "I should have waited outside until training was finished. I just couldn't wait to see them." She looked back at the cubs, who had formed a circle around her, their tails intertwined protectively. "It's been 3 months since I rotated off-world. You know these hatchlings?" Jakral asked. "Know them?" "I helped incubate their eggs." Dr. Chen's smile somehow grew wider. "I'm a xenobiologist. I've been studying dragon reproduction and early development for 5 years. I was here when these eggs were laid, monitored their temperature regulation, sang to them through the shells." She stopped, seeming to realize she was rambling. "Dragons are magnificent creatures, Commander. It's been the honor of my life to work with them." Jakral looked at the cubs with new eyes. They weren't breaking discipline out of childish whimsy. They recognized her. More than that, they trusted her with the absolute certainty that hatchlings reserved for clutch family. "How?" he asked simply. Dr. Chen knelt again, and immediately 3 cubs pressed against her, nearly knocking her over. She steadied herself against their bulk. bulk that should have crushed her and stroked the scales along their necks. Humans are social creatures, Commander. We bond, we adopt, we love. She looked up at him. We can't breathe fire or fly or survive in hard vacuum without suits. But we can care, fiercely, absolutely, for our own and for others. The cubs imprinted on her, Vesistara explained. Dr. Chen was the first being they heard, the first they smelled when their shells cracked open. To them she is family. Jakral watched as young Skrath, the aggressive one, the biter, the one who challenged every command, gently placed his massive head in the human's lap, his eyes closing in contentment. The sight triggered a memory from his own education, something his clutch mother had taught him. Strength is not only found in claws and fire, youngling. The greatest strength is knowing when to sheathe them. High Scholar, Jakral said slowly. Might I revise the training schedule? Vesitara's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. I believe that would be wise. Dr. Chen, Jakral turned to the human who was now completely surrounded by attentive cubs. Would you be willing to assist with training exercises? It seems the cubs respond to your presence. The human's face brightened in a way that reminded Jakral of a star going nova. Really, I'd love to. I've been studying dragon psychology and social structures. I have so many ideas about positive reinforcement and, as the human launched into an enthusiastic explanation filled with terms like behavioral conditioning and trust-building exercises, Jakral found himself listening. Really listening. The cubs had already taught him something important today. Perhaps humans weren't weak after all. Perhaps they were simply strong in ways the Imperium had never thought to measure. By the time the training day ended, the cubs had learned more about formation flying than they had in the previous week. All it took was Dr. Chen standing at the rally point, arms spread wide, calling them home. They flew with precision, competed for her approval, and when she praised them in that soft, warm voice, they tried even harder. Jakral filed his incident report that evening. Under Assessment of Human Integration, he wrote a single sentence that would be quoted in training manuals for generations. The humans do not conquer with weapons, they conquer with love, and perhaps that is the most devastating weapon of all.